There are currently 20 weapon mods in Zombieville 3D, ranging from giving yourself an extra life to just straight up doing more damage. To make them a bit easier to digest, I broke them up into 4 categories: damage, survivability, effects, and utility. First, some general information about weapon mods. So, modded weapons can only be found inside of weapon crates, and a weapon can only have one mod at the same time. It seems like every weapon can have every mod, besides melee weapons, not having access to things like the ammo mods or like piercing bullets. That one really makes sense, but I'm not 100% sure about this. So starting us off with the damage category, we got Powerful. Powerful says deals 50% more damage. Just straight up, probably the simplest mod in the game. And I mean, this is just a very simple buff to your weapons. Never go wrong. I mean, this is something I would love to have on every weapon, right? So can't complain if you get this one. Definitely pretty strong. So next is Overload. So Overload deals 3 times damage, but it spends ammo from all of the weapons you have equipped. And it can be really, really good. If you have a setup where you're running around, you're getting crates, you have things maybe like the arc gun that doesn't really take that much ammo, something like that. This can be really strong, but it can also totally ruin you if you don't realize you have it. So watch out for it. Definitely pretty good though. Next is Crushing, and this deals 2.5 times damage to heavies, which are the big zombies with suits, and also has increased knockback. So this one's decent. I'd say the damage to heavies really isn't that important. More of the knockback is the nice part here. And I'm not sure if it also has increased damage to cursed heavies. It was kind of hard to test, but it seems like it should, which definitely would be very useful. So yeah, definitely a great perk. So after that is Cursebreaker. This is dealing 3 times damage to cursed zombies. And honestly, I didn't really like this perk that much until I got it on the Trident, where it was just insane. Whereas before it would take like 4 or 5, even more shots on the higher levels to kill the heavy cursed zombies. You could do it in 1 or 2 shots with Cursebreaker, which is just excellent. However, if you get this perk on like a pistol or an SMG or something like that, it's really not that great because you don't really want to be using those weapons to deal with the cursed zombies anyway. So, last in the damage category is Ambusher. This says deals 3 times damage when not striking from the front. I kind of hate this perk. Unless you have like a cryo gun or something, you can actually reliably get behind things. It's really, really difficult to take use of. If you can find a way to use it, great, but most of the time I'm kiting and all the zombies are looking at me anyway, so it's really hard to take advantage of. Alright, moving on to the survivability category. There's a lot of really strong mods in this. So first we have Protective. This says, will rescue you from death once, even if holstered. This is just an excellent perk to have in the back pocket. Will save you from death once. It brings back about half your HP. And, well, there's really not that much to say. I mean, you can stick this on. If you get like a melee weapon with it, you can just keep it, and it'll just be there for whenever you need it. And if you want to drop the weapon after it's used, it won't have the mod anymore, so you can just drop it. It's not a big deal. After that, we've got Armored. This is reduced damage by 25% when equipped. This is not that great compared to the other survivability perks. Like, 25% isn't a ton, and there's other mods that will just let you survive a whole lot better, and yeah, so, I mean, you can't go wrong with it, I guess. It's just a straight up buff, but definitely not super strong. Now, after that, we have Siphon. And I think Siphon really depends on which weapon you get it on. So, Siphon recovers health on hit, and for things like shotguns, it recovers so much health, even at longer ranges. And it's honestly better than even the Vampire perk maxed out with melee weapons. So, that's extremely strong if you get it on a shotgun. However, if you get it on a gun that does less damage per shot, it doesn't seem that great, and it'll take you a whole mag just to get like a quarter of your health back, which is not ideal. You're better off just using a sword at that point. So, Desperate. This says, while sprinting, you take half damage and can't be slowed. This is a really, really good perk. It seems a little kind of lame at first, but there's so many situations where having this perk, you're just able to slip out and get away from things you really shouldn't. So, yeah, I love this perk. Definitely great. Next, we have Mobile. This is probably my favorite perk in the entire game. It says, sprinting consumes no stamina, so you can just absolutely book it around map. And yeah, I mean, this is so strong for I put this in the survivability category because mobility is survivability in this game, unless you're cheesing in a corner with a sword. But anyway, yeah, so you're able to just continuously run, avoiding zombies and whatnot, healing up, whatever. It just, so many things you can do with this. You get to more crates, you get to more areas of the map. Yeah, really, really, really awesome. Alright, the effects category. Starting us off, we got Piercing. This is pretty simple. Shots penetrate targets. This mod can be alright, especially on like pistols and things that do the less damage. But there's already a lot of weapons in the game that have some sort of like damaging multiple opponents type of a thing. And Piercing doesn't do anything for those weapons, and so it's not ideal. Next we got Volatile. This is causes enemies to explode. I really like this one. It's a little bit hard to work for weapons that don't do so much damage. But if you can get it on a more like single shot weapon, maybe a sniper or something, then this can be really good for clearing out those crowds. Alright, so the next perk is Shocking. Yeah, so Shocking briefly shocks enemies and deals 25% more damage. The 25% more damage actually comes in clutch a lot of the time, and this is a really great mod, I think. It stuns the enemies a little bit, except for the cursed ones, of course, and yeah, it's great with basically every weapon type as well. So, alright, next we got Freezing. So this might be the best mod in the entire game. It just adds the freezing effect to your weapon, and this is so strong. The amount of crowd control you get on basically every weapon in the game is just crazy. The freezing is what makes the swords, the elemental melee weapons, so strong, and so having this on anything is just insane. So yeah, definitely take a look out for the freezing mod. It's a really good one. So last for the effects, we got Burning. Very similar to Freezing, just sets the enemies on fire. This is also a top tier perk. Does the same thing as Freezing and does a little bit more damage. And I actually got this mod on the Mage Sword, and that was interesting because it removed the freezing effect. So, and also it burnt on the first hit as well, like as it does with the other weapons. So I thought that was pretty funny. I also saw a fire sword or fire blade with freezing on it. I didn't pick it up though, unfortunately, but I bet it does the same thing. So that's pretty funny that it removes the other effects. So you can't have freezing and burning on the same weapon, unfortunately, but anyway, still really, really good. It just basically gives you the best melee weapon in the game. Alright, so the last category of mods is Utility. Starting us off, we got Corrupted. It says infinite ammo, but consumes health to fire. This might be the worst mod in the entire game. It's a lot of health, and health is everything. So that resource, you can't be using it just to fire your weapon. The smaller caliber weapons, it takes less health, but still just really not worth using at all. I think this is just a straight nerf to most weapons. I would never pick it up. Next is Bottomless. This regenerates ammo over time, and this one can be really good, but also this is one where it really depends on which weapon you get it on. It restores the same amount of ammo over time, no matter if you're using a shotgun or a pistol. So getting this on an SMG or a pistol is really bad. But having it on a shotgun, or especially like a grenade launcher or something is just awesome. You can keep it in the back pocket, it'll fill up, and you can use it again. So yeah, the Bottomless can be really good, but also can be really bad. So next is Lethal. This has a 10% chance to instantly kill enemies. I didn't really want to put this in the damage category because it doesn't buff your damage really, just adds a little sort of effect to your weapons. So that 10% chance, it honestly doesn't happen that much. It can be really useful against the cursed zombies, so it's all right to have, but you know, not a big deal, not a great mod necessarily. So after that we have Robber, and this is the only mod that doesn't really help you in the current game. It just says kills with this weapon will drop 100% more money, which is good, but I think generally there's better ways to be farming money than running around the map getting crates. So I don't know, I don't particularly like this mod that much. It's, yeah, not a big deal if you have it or not. And lastly we have Wildcard, and this says scales with highest weapon perks regardless of type. This is pretty nice, especially because the weapons you're picking up from crates are probably not the ones you have perks on. You're usually running the perks on the weapons you start with. So that's it for all the weapon mods inside of Zombieville USA 3D. Thank you so much for watching. I plan to keep on making some more videos on this game. I've really been enjoying it. Comment below what you might want to see. I was thinking of going over all of the locked weapons, having a video on all of them, something like that. Or maybe even just making a tier list of every weapon in the game. Let me know if any of that sounds interesting to you, and thanks again for watching.